Okay, my name is Paragon. I go by that the most. So today I am showing you a different server, and for those joining, how to play. There is a bunch of plugins that run the server that make stuff like, well, this isn't vanilla. It's not, but it's not modded either. There's plugins that show the in-between, which this is based off a mod pack. So, there are some things like this. Now, when you join the server, the first thing you're going to do is be stuck in an area where you have to mine out. That's StoneBlock. It's a mod pack. It's fun. So, for people that can't play the mod pack, like myself, I'm running a low-end PC I can't play. So I joined the server, started playing. It's kind of fun. It's got a long way to go. But I love what's here so far. So the basics are the forge. You get an item you need to smelt that can't be smelted in a furnace, like this by chance. You can't smelt copper. You can smelt copper ore in a furnace. You can, but it's an example. Um, you can also put this in a Macerator, but why is it not working? Okay, that one's working, but that makes sense because I'm using a reactor that's reaching it. But for this, people starting out, you'll end up with one of these. It's a coal generator. It's pretty simple. Shove in some coal and energy. Now, to show you what a Mace Raider does, which most people would know, put an ore. And double. There you go. So now you can put that for double ore. It's one of the basic things you do on the server. But not everything can be doubled. Just because it has an ore form does not mean it can be smelted again. So click this. It shows everything that can be done, and there's also more than one way to do something. So you should check that out too. Now, same goes for this. There's 6 different machines for actually crafting and working with stuff. There's also a lot of other stuff you should check out in /menu. There's a bunch of different machines and stuff you can craft. There are some restrictions to some items, like the item teleporter, the auto crafter. These requirements are made because you can automate stuff. They've actually gotten that far on the server, and it's actually very fun to get that way. I can actually show you a bit of what I've done for automation. This is just a small area, actually. It only does some coolant is what it makes, which you'll understand when you play the server a bit more. But most of this is just to get to coolant. It's not exactly fun to do it manually, but that's what item teleporters and stuff are for. So just fly around over here and show you the next thing. These are veins. They basically produce infinite ores. As long as you have a vein, you have infinite ore of that type. Now, some may come back fast, some might not. So, redstone is the fastest. Copper would probably be the second fastest to generate because you need a lot of it. So, whenever you're stuck on a recipe, just do /menu and go through it. There's a lot of stuff to go through. Now, on the industrial stuff, you don't need a donor rank to play the server. It's only for faster automation. So donating helps the server, of course. So having industrial machines is a huge benefit to the player too, because the normal one only had 1 slot. Let's go to the furnace, industrial furnace. Yeah, these are speed upgrades. They make everything move faster. They are not craftable. You can only get them from the elite crate, which if I go to spawn, there are 2 crates, the vote and elite. So the vote crate has a bunch of stuff in it. If you want to see anything, you can slow it down. Speed upgrades, elite key, and ranks. You can get these for free. You don't have to pay. Just vote. Helps the server and helps you. But elite crates are quite insane. I love them. It's fun to gamble with them personally. So if I go back to my SB, there are a few things you should know about the server. Late game, you'll get to reactors. I don't think I'll show how to set those up right now, but you can do /menu how to use the material. So if we go to the reactor, any way you put it in there, this works. So long as the rod is connected to a heat plate and coolant, or just coolant. You can also just use heat plates, but I don't recommend that, because heat plates are similar to fans. Coolants keep the fans cool. It's extra protection to you and your base, because if a reactor blows up, it's not small, it will leave a crater. So that's why you start out with coal generators. If you keep track of your nuclear reactors, you'll do just fine. It's just a bit of work. See, cool. Probably still putting stuff through here. Now there are a few other machines that can be used. All you need to do is, if you don't know what you can do with them, is click this. And you can always check a recipe by clicking on it. Quite convenient. Now there is a vote link. There's also the Discord. I'd recommend joining that for any questions you have about how to do this, anything on the server. There's also a good community on there. Not everybody plays, but a lot of people are on the Discord constantly too. On top of that, there is, what was it? Over here. Yeah, there's custom items in the server too that uses the plugins and texture packs. So you have non-vanilla based items. I mean, it's kind of fun. But it also doesn't put the strain on your computer. It's ran by the server. So all this stuff is nice for the user to use. There is a rank above the two you saw in the crate. It's called Dominator. It's quite a bit more expensive, and you can only pay for it. Gives you several benefits, including /fly, which on this server is quite useful. There is also the dimensional keys. I do want to show this because I get this question a lot. But what do these do? Well, if you go down, you can there's also a barrier that's supposed to be right around here, but I took it out. So there are two barriers. You'll start around in the center, you go up, there's a barrier, you go down, there's a barrier. But if you go down to the barrier, this is the dimensional barrier. You can't mine it. It's not mineable. You can't break it. It's not possible. But if you get a dimensional key, you can pop it open. And now you can go down to the nether. And yes, I find this out too. There's a lot to the server, all in just some coding for you guys to enjoy. There is also, if I go to spawn, I believe, you'll start here. There is a texture pack you'll have to download and to use. I think he's over, yeah, he's over here. You'll start there. Accept the pack to play. It's world resources, so it's a bit weird. There's also the auction, so you can view the player shop. This is where everybody sells everything. I mean, you can put up to 10 items on here. And something that I've had a lot of questions and issues with is people being like, I don't want to buy the whole stack. Well, you don't have to. I only want 16 of them. Well, there you go. You can buy just 16 of them. I've not seen any other server do that, so that was something that really helped me out. There's also a shop, and donor ranks are prevented to keep people from just starting and doing everything. You play the server a little longer, you get more perks. There are ranks you have to go through. I've gone through all of those and then some. On top of this, there are perks and kits per rank, so all of these happen. This one is from a custom boss in the nether. You'll understand it a bit more when you play, but to get to it you have to do summoning core, and you only need one. Once you have one, you don't need another. It's one-time use. You'll get a jetpack and you can sort of fly around. It's not the same as slash fly, but it is a free alternative. So for those that don't want to spend money on the server, jetpacks are the way to go. Now, people have been like, how have people won these ranks? How many people have won them? You know, how rare is it? Well, it's rare, but I've seen more than 20 people win VIP, and probably a handful more won Immortal at least. So it's not as uncommon as you think, and there's been a lot of people to join the server. So if you're also trying to learn about money, that's a tricky one due to the way that the server runs. I mean, it's not just what you can sell for whatever you can. A lot of the stuff you sell on the player shop is not guaranteed to sell. It's a waiting game and a risk. That's what spawners are good for. That's the easiest way to make money, is using spawners. You can AFK them when you have VIP. For anyone that does not have a donor rank, you cannot AFK. You'll get sent to spawn and not be on your island. After 30 minutes, you'll get kicked from the server. I mean, 30 minutes is still, you know, a long time in my opinion. Let's see. Reactors are a bit of a pain to explain. Because they can blow up, they can cause issues, but this is the chamber, this is the reactor, and this is the power monitor. Tells you what's going on with it. The reactor and the reactor and the chamber, you only need the chamber, or the reactor. You don't need the chamber. The chamber just adds more space. Let me set up a new one so I can actually show you guys how to set it up properly. Mine's just set up kind of so you have the reactor itself can go like this. As long as this is connected to any one of the sides, it works. You can also put the power monitor on any side and rearrange it the way you want. That's a full-on reactor. So if you go over and grab, you need uranium rods, heat plates, and coolant. I do 2 coolant per heat plate. I'll show you how to set that up. It does not matter where you set this up. You just need a heat plate and 2 coolant. You can put the uranium rod here, here. You can move the coolant here. As long as it's connected to the rod, it works. And this will stay working. And you will have power. It is better than a coal generator. Energy-wise, you get double the energy. Now, don't need that down here. So energy wise, you get double the energy. It also generates it a bit faster than a coal generator. There's also the benefit of range. The reactor goes a bit further. To these machines down here, I wanted to go more in depth on industrial machines. The speed upgrades help make it faster, and each machine uses a different amount of power. I do not know the exact amount it uses, I just know it uses some. Speed upgrades only make the machine faster, meaning you use energy faster, but at the same rate with or without the speed upgrades. Meaning, if you have the speed upgrades, it goes faster for every process it does, it uses the same amount of energy. Whether or not you have the speed upgrades, when it completes something, it's going to be the same. Now, the benefit to an industrial machine compared to a normal machine is if you do it correctly, and you use all 4 slots, it'll use half the amount of energy for those other machines would. So if you had two normal forges going, it would be equal to this if all 4 stacks were being used, energy-wise. If you go too fast, though, the items get stuck, and I'm just going to show that by using some copper. Copper is one of the easiest materials to get and the ones you need a lot of. So this is just to explain it a bit. So you'll see that it only gets down to that last one right before it gets it, so this one will get basically clogged. It will never go past it. So keep an eye out on that. Other than that, I think I've covered all the basics. There are ways to invite people using /t invite, and you put their name. So whatever their username is, you can, put their name in. The other person does t accept. There's also the /sb command that takes you to wherever you do sb set home. Let's say you're having any issue with a player that joins, gets on your island, you accept a teleport, and they're just causing problems. You can use SB kick. It sends the user home. So if I did, just to be funny, I mean, it would kick them off the island. Since this is my island, I can't be kicked from it. It's not possible. So other than that, the easiest ways to get some of the basic materials to start. There's the mob arena. It's just a couple zombie spawners, and there's a robot. Like I said, there's custom stuff in this, so you will see this a lot. They, as in the zombies, are good for rotten flesh. The rotten flesh can be turned into slime. If you do recipe rubber, you'll be like, okay, that's easy enough. And then you have yet another machine that can use rotten flesh, and then you turn it to slime, to rubber. Rubber is used in a lot of recipes that you can check out in the menu. There's the shop and Discord, so if you just want to use those to get to those links. I think I've covered most of the basics. I think I have a decent amount of the stuff talked about, so if you have any questions, I'm on the server a lot. I'm also on the Discord. Feel free to message me, and I'll do what I can to help.